Hello, and welcome once again to Lehto's Law. I'm Steve Lehto, attorney at law in the state of Michigan, where I've been practicing law now for 27 years in the fields of consumer protection and lemon law. And of course, 27 is now the new number because it added a year. It's been the anniversary of my admission to practice law in the state of Michigan. The anniversary was this week, so it's now 27 years. I also write about this stuff quite a bit on the internet, magazine articles, newspaper articles, and so on. And I've written a few books as well. And in fact, stick around to the end. I'm going to talk to you about Chrysler's Turbine Car, the rise and fall of Detroit's coolest creation. You'll see a stack of them up there underneath the Chrysler Turbine Car. I've got more, and I'm going to be blasting them out at an extremely low price just because I've got a bunch, and I'll explain why that is in a second. But first, we're going to talk about today the latest RV dealer scam. The latest RV dealer scam. I did a couple videos a while back. One's called Don't Buy an RV. It's the most watched video on my channel. And I also did one called What You Need to Know Before You Buy an RV. And I told people, I said, look, I know people are going to buy RVs. They're not going to take the advice from my first video and just not buy them. But, you know, if you're going to buy an RV, you got to be smart and know what you're looking for and what not to do and so on. So I covered that in those two videos. But the strange thing is I recently came across a new scam, and I wouldn't have believed it. It's so bizarre that I wouldn't have believed it, except I've now heard it from 4 or 5 different people who don't know each other, who all describe the identical scam. So we're going to talk about that. But first, I do have to tell you that every time I put up a video where I talk about RVs, I get somebody who goes into the comment section and says, Steve, you're misusing the term RV. And they'll say an RV is always, and they'll say it's either always a pusher or a puller or it's never a trailer. A recreational vehicle, which is what I'm using the term RV to stand for. I'm going to default to Wikipedia on this one. And Wikipedia, I know, is not accurate when it comes to historical things and so on, but it can be accurate in just terms of culture, okay? And according to Wikipedia, the term recreational vehicle, or RV, is often used as a broad category of motor vehicles and trailers, which include living quarters designed for temporary accommodation. Types of RVs include motorhomes, camper vans, caravans, also known as traveler trailers and camper trailers, fifth wheel trailers, pop-up campers, and truck campers. So all of those things are RVs. So when I say don't buy an RV, I'm talking about those things. When I say what you need to know before you buy an RV, I'm talking about those things. The reason I'm saying this such broad category is that the law affects all of those things the same way. So for the pop-up camper and the $400,000 motorhome, the law is the same. So don't say, oh, you're misusing the term RV because it really only means this or that in my mind. I don't care what it is in your mind. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So here's the scam that's been going down lately. You are shopping around for an RV. You decide you're going to buy a brand new one. You go to one of the larger dealers in the Midwest that has several locations, and you are negotiating a purchase price, and they're going to order you one, or they found one on the lot for you, whatever. And then they'll tell you, oh, by the way, there's a mandatory dealer inspection. A mandatory dealer inspection. And when I first heard that, I asked the person, I said, what are you talking about? And they said, oh, well, we wanted to have the vehicle inspected. They said, don't worry, we inspected for you. I said, okay. And they said, but you have to do it. In other words, it's not even an option. You have to do it. I said, okay. And they said, and it costs between $1,500 and $2,000. So I go, the dealer charged you $2,000 to inspect the vehicle that they're selling you? And I've heard this now from more than, like I said, 3 or 4 people saying, yeah, they said you have to do this. It's part of the deal. Everyone must do this. It's required. And I said, did you object? And they said, of course I objected. Well, another $2,000. But they said, no, it's required. It's mandatory. You've got to do this. And as you might imagine, the reason these people are calling me is that the vehicles, the RVs they'd bought, were defective. And I said, oh, so in your estimation, if you had to guess, were the problems with the RV present at the time of the inspection? They said, yeah, they missed them. They missed them. I said, okay. What makes you think they even did an inspection? Oh, well, they told me they did, and they charged me for one. Okay, well, okay. So here's the deal. Some RV dealers are now charging you for a mandatory inspection that they will do of the RV they're selling you. Now, that is so inside out and backwards. I could actually just stop the video right now and start talking about my book. But just in case I need to lay this out, I'm going to. So for those of you who say, Steve, your videos are too long, we're at the 5-minute mark right now. If somebody wants to charge you a mandatory dealer inspection, just say no. And if they say you have to have it, say, I'll go buy my vehicle someplace that doesn't charge me for that. Buy my RV someplace that doesn't charge me that. And see what happens. But let me explain now for those of you who actually want the explanation. First of all, the fact that they make you do this inspection of this vehicle is bizarre. But I've told people you need to have a vehicle inspected, right? I say all the time, if you're going to buy used or new, you should bring in a guy who can inspect an RV and tell you what's right or wrong with it. But the problem I have at first with this, and I have several problems, is that I actually know enough about the dealers that are doing this, that I've seen their purchase agreements. And every single one of them says, you are waiving your right to sue us for anything bad in this transaction. We don't make any warranties, we make no promises. The only contract is that you're going to give us money and we're going to give you the RV. So money goes this way, the RV goes that way. That's the contract. But you cannot sue them for anything beyond that. In other words, if they didn't give you the RV, if they didn't deliver an RV to you, you could sue them. As long as they deliver the RV to you, you can't sue them. So this mandatory dealer inspection they do, and they come back and they say, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. You get in the RV and you're driving down the road and everything is wrong with it. Let's just assume for a split second that every possible thing that could be wrong with it is wrong with it. It's all stuff that's obvious to the naked eye. You just paid them $1,500 or $2,000 for an inspection and they missed everything. Can you go back on them for that? No, because you just signed a document saying you can't sue them for anything except for their failure to deliver you the vehicle. So what's that inspection really getting you other than a loss of $2,000? I don't know. I don't think it's getting you anything. So they make you sign the disclaimer that says you can't come back at them for anything. Then they charge you $2,000 for a shoddy inspection. And by the way, who's to say it's even shoddy? They don't even have to do an inspection. I mean, what's an inspection? Guy walked over, walked through it. I mean, guy got in it to pull it around so you could drive off in it. Yeah, he inspected it while he got in it. What's an inspection? It's so bizarre. But second of all, they're trying to sell you a vehicle. They want to sell you a vehicle. One of the most difficult jobs in the world must be an RV salesman, okay? Because you're sitting around trying to sell something that people don't need. I mean, people need cars, they need transportation, but they don't need an RV. And there's a lot of RV dealers out there, and these things are very, very expensive, and they've got, sometimes bad reputations. There's guys on the internet saying don't buy them at all. And so someone walks in a lot and says, hey, I'm interested in buying this RV from you. And so you say, okay, and you haggle for a little while, and next thing you know, pulling out a contract saying, sign this thing, commit to this, blah, 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 blah. And they say, oh, and by the way, it's a mandatory inspection. $2,000. Pay us $2,000, we'll inspect the vehicle for you. And you should immediately think, wait a second. This guy's trying to sell me an RV. How is he incentivized to find anything wrong with that RV? Why would he? He doesn't want anything to be wrong with that RV because he wants you to buy it. Can you imagine the mixed up, topsy-turvy world we'd live in if the RV dealer would actually come back and say, hey, we saved you. Boy, you dodged a bullet. We found something wrong with that RV we were about to sell you. And I advise you don't buy it. So give me the $2,000 for the inspection, but don't buy the RV. It's never going to happen. They're never going to fail a vehicle or an RV inspection. They're never going to fail the inspection on a vehicle they're trying to sell you, okay? They're trying to sell you the RV. They're not going to say it failed its inspection. And in fact, they're probably not even going to inspect it. They're just going to say they did. But again, they have no incentive to do that. And it's obviously a conflict of interest. As you can imagine, if I am trying to sell you something and I ask you to pay me to inspect it, I am in a position where I want you to buy it. And that's going to encourage me to find nothing wrong with the RV. So I can tell you things that people have told me that they've got on brand new RVs. For instance, they've got a brand new RV where the frame is rusted. Brand new RV where the propane tanks are rusty, like they've been sitting outside for a couple winters. Brand new RVs that leak the second it rains. Brand new RVs that the slides don't work. Brand new RVs where the second you sit on the bed falls off the wall or falls off whatever's mounting it up off the ground. Brand new RVs where the toilets don't flush, the showers don't work, the water doesn't work. Brand new RVs where you turn the sink on and water starts gushing out from underneath the sink because they didn't attach the plumbing right, and so on. I mean, the list is endless. And how could things like that have gotten missed in an inspection? And the strange thing about this, let's suppose you're out shopping for RVs. And these RVs can often cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's one of the ways they're getting away with this, is they say, look, we're financing this. So when they roll an extra $2,000 in the purchase price, it's not going to make much of a difference, seemingly, in the size of your payment, right? You're going to look at a couple extra bucks over the next however months this thing's being financed for. So that's, they're going to roll that in the way they roll in rust proofing or fabric protection on a car deal. So they roll in this $2,000 inspection. And let's suppose that you actually shopped around and you said, Steve, I actually found a deal on this dream RV of mine where even with the $2,000 inspection, it's still a good deal, right? Isn't it possible? It's possible, right? So it's possible that someone's selling you the vehicle, the RV, and the price is so low that in essence, it's going to absorb the cost of that inspection and still be a good deal. My advice to you, get it inspected. And I'm saying ignore their inspections. Their inspection is meaningless. I would venture that in the history of these dealerships charging this inspection fee, they've never once failed an RV and said, we can't sell you this RV. It's never happened. I guarantee it's never happened. So what you do then is say, okay, you can do your inspection. I'll throw the $2,000 out the window, but I want my inspector to inspect it because I believe that before you buy a brand new RV, you should have it professionally inspected. Now, there are people out there right now who are saying, Steve, I can inspect my own RV. I'm that handy. I understand. If that's true, good. So before you sign on the dotted line, as they say, you should inspect the RV top to bottom, climb up on top, look at the roof, climb underneath, look at everything underneath it, run all the systems, check to make sure everything works. See if there's some way you can find out if you can simulate rain, find out if it leaks. Because that's one of the biggest problems I hear about people getting bigger, higher-end RVs, especially the ones with slides and so on, is that they take it out the first time it rains, it leaks. And they'll say, I didn't know that. I inspected the vehicle on a sunny afternoon on the dealership lot. And that's probably the case, So, do what you can to inspect it. But if you can't personally inspect it yourself, and I'm betting that only 1 in 25 or 1 in 50 people who are watching this video could actually inspect an RV knowledgeably. Hire someone to do it for you. And when the dealership tries to talk you out of that and says, no, you don't need to have an inspection because we inspected it for you, okay? They're insulting your intelligence. They are. They're going to act like you're insulting them, but no, they're insulting your intelligence. You need to say, well, I understand that I'm required to buy this inspection from you. But quite frankly, I have my own guy, and I trust him. But also, my own guy is not disincentivized to find things or miss things. I forgot how that works. It's like a triple negative. So the point is, my inspector will find things wrong with it, whereas your inspector won't. And I, quite frankly, would be fascinated to learn what their inspector actually does, if in fact they have an inspector, or if the inspection is simply done by the salesman who walks through it one time just to make sure that stuff is there or nothing's there that doesn't belong there. I've talked to people who've bought things, for instance, and they found used, soiled baby diapers stuffed underneath the cushions of a brand new RV. Now you'd think an inspector would find that, but somehow the inspector didn't. And so, again, this is the latest scam. I suspect we're going to see more and more of it as time goes by because it's free money. They've figured out a way to make $2,000 of free money on every RV they sell. They go, oh, you're required to have us inspect it. And it helps them because most people, I think, would say, oh, if I'm paying these guys $2,000 to inspect it, I don't need my own inspection. So they're actually gaining on both ends of that. They're making money off of you and they're discouraging you from having it inspected. So like I said, if you want to buy an RV from a dealer that charges you $2,000 for their own inspection, if you still think the price is good after the $2,000 has been stolen from you, go right ahead and do it, but still have the RV inspected. So you need to have the RV inspected whether it's brand new or used. But like I said, go back, watch my other videos. You'll see that there's a lot of things to avoid when buying RVs. And you might want to buy one used where someone else took all these hits. So that is the latest RV dealer scam, the mandatory dealer inspection that only costs you $2,000. I wrote a book called Chrysler's Turbine Car, The Rise and Fall of Detroit's Coolest Creation, based on the car that this is a model of. And Chrysler built a fleet of jet-powered cars back in the 1960s, and they were working on jet-powered cars for about 25 or 30 years. The book's got a foreword by Jay Leno because Jay Leno's got a turbine car. And he's a very, very kind guy. He let me drive his turbine car. In fact, I believe, besides the photograph of me and Jay Leno that's in the book, there's also a picture of me sitting at the wheel of Jay's car. But anyways, the book normally is $24.95, but the hardcover is going out of print. And my publisher actually called me up and said, Steve, it's going out of print. Do you want a few cases? I said, sure. So I got a big discount on them. If you want one, $10. While supplies last, I got another case of them outside. $10 a piece. That includes shipping. I'll sign it and I'll mail it anywhere in the United States while supplies last. So Chrysler's turbine car, the Rise and Fall, Detroit's coolest creation, in hardcover, $10 while supplies last. $10, it's all in. Questions or comments, as always, shoot them my way. LehtoSlaw.com, LEHTOSLAW.com. I'm on Twitter at Steve Lehto, at STEVELEHTO. And this show's on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Podbean, Google Play, and YouTube. And this is the last episode of Season 4. Season 5 starts next week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.